Hi, welcome to my video on review 1 on the circle, which has center radius, and the ellipse, which has center and the length of the axes. And this review is on the videos numbers 1 to 12. And as in all reviews, that you treat the review as a quiz, and this one is marked at a 27. So you answer each question, give yourself the marks to sign, total up the marks on each page, and when you're finished, add it up, put it over 27, and divide the denominator 27 into the numerator, get a decimal, move the decimal 2 places to the right to get your percent. Here we go. Review. Number 1, we have the equation x minus 4 all squared, y plus 7 all squared equals 9. And this represents a circle. The center is opposite of 4. Negative 4 is 4. Opposite of plus 7 is a minus 7. And the radius is r squared is equal to 9. So the square root of r squared is plus minus the square root of 9. So r is equal to plus minus 3, but the radius has to be positive. So I'll give you a mark each if you have these two answers. State the standard form of a circle. And the standard form of a circle is x minus h all squared, y minus k all squared equals r squared. So we have a negative 8, so we have a plus 8 squared. We have a plus 6, so we have a minus 6 squared. And the radius is root 7, so r squared is root 7 squared, which is 7. So if you have that answer, give yourself a mark. And the center is 3, negative 2, and it's tangent to the x. Well, let's draw a little graph of what's going on here. The center is 3, negative 2, right here. And that's the center. So, and it's tangent to the x-axis. So this is the x-axis, and this is the y-axis. So it's tangent to the x-axis. So the tangent to the x means it goes up here, and it's tangent. That's a 2. So it's a 2 radius all the way around, and 2 down. So it's tangent to the x, touching right there. So there's the circle. So if that's the center and it's tangent, that means that distance there is 2. So that means your radius is 2. So the equation is plus 3 is a minus 3 squared, minus 2 for the y, so it's a plus 2 squared. The radius is 2, so r squared is 4. So if you have this equation, give yourself a mark. C. These are the endpoints of the diameter. So if they are the endpoints of the diameter, again, a little quick sketch. If 2, 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 2, 5. And the other end is 2, negative 3, right here. So if they're the endpoints of the diameter, so the diameter is going down like this. So very quickly, if that's the diameter, we get the midpoint, which is the center. So the midpoint, there's a 2 and a 2, so add them up, you get 4 divided by 2 is 2, so it won't change. And you got 5 and negative 3, if you add up, you get 2, 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the center is 2, 1. So we have an x minus 2 squared, y minus 1 squared, and the distance you can count. If that's the center, then from here to here, that's a x is 2, y is 1. So we go up 5 units. We go up from 1 to 5, so that means that's a 4 there. So that means the radius is 4. So r squared is 4 squared, which is 16. So if you have, and if you have the center correctly, give yourself a mark. If you have the radius, give yourself a mark. And if you have this equation, give yourself a mark, 3 altogether. So notice in the middle of these two is the center, which is 2, 1. Radius is half the distance. So from 5 to -3 down, that's 8 units. So 4 is half, so the radius is 4. Total pages out of 7. Okay, let's continue. Find the equation of a circle in standard form, but the center is the intersection of these two. Notice this is linear, x and y, and this is linear. So we're going to find the intersection of these two lines. So we can solve for x and sub in here, or we can line them up like this. We can go x plus 4y equals -5, and we can line this one up, -2x minus 3y equals 0. Now that we have them lined up, we can eliminate the x's, so we can multiply this equation. That's a -2, so we need a 2 here. Multiply this one by 1. When we do, 2 times all of these terms gives us 2x plus 8y equals -10. Multiply by 1, we get -2x minus 3y equals 0. And because the x's are different, we add them up, we get 0. That gives us 5y equals -10 when we add. Divide by 5. Y equals -2. And we sub into one of these equations. Don't make any difference which one. It could be this one or this one. Makes no difference. So x plus 4y plus 5 equals 0. So y is -2. And so we get y is -2. So x minus 8y minus 5 equals 0. X minus 13 equals 0. X equals 13. And so the center is 13, -2. And the radius given to us is 6. So that means r squared is 36. So the equation is x minus 13 squared. Add on y plus 2 squared equals 36. And again, if you have the center, each coordinate of the center, mark each. And if you put it in the equation, you get an extra mark, 3 altogether. So, and if you put, again, just to check that I have it written down right, y is -2. Y is -2. That's we get a 5, -2 is 8. Oh, I was wondering, something was astray here. That's a 3, so that's a +3. So x is 3. So that's a 3. I was wondering what happened. How come? Looked like I made an error. So that's a 3, not a 13. When I add it up, like that was a -8 plus 5 is just a -3. So when you bring it over, it becomes 3. And so 3 negative, so that's 3 -2. Opposite of 3 is -3. Opposite of -2 is +2. And the radius is 6, 36. Perfect. Somehow I knew I made an error, but I couldn't find out where it was. I got to be careful. Number 4. Find the value of k if point root 3k and root 6k is on the circle whose center is 0, 0 and a radius of -3k plus 2. Well, we want the equation, we want the value of k lies on the circle. So we have an x minus h all squared, y minus k all squared equals r squared. So the center is 0, 0. So that's x minus 0 squared, y minus 0 squared equals the radius squared, which is a negative 3k plus 2 squared. So that becomes x minus 0 squared is just x squared, y minus 0 squared is y squared, and we have to square this out. So to square negative 3k is 9k squared. The product is negative 6k doubled, negative 12k, and 2 squared is 4. So we have that done. So we have a circle equation, but we got x's and y's and k's. So what happens, we got to find the value of k if this point lies on the line. So this point lies on the line. This is the x value, and this is the y value. So we sub in, place of x, root 3k and square it. We sub in the place of y, root 6k and square it. So finish writing this down. So root 3k squared, root 3 times root 3 is 3, k times k is k squared. Root 6 squared is root 6 times root 6, which is 6, and k squared. So that gives us, everything's okay on the right side. We add up these two, 6k squared 9, and 3k squared and 6k squared becomes 9k squared. Simplify the left side, done. Now that's a 9k squared on each side, we cancel them. So we bring this, this is, I better be careful here, that's a negative, no, that's a negative 12, okay, so that's a 12k moved to the left, become positive, equals 4, divide by 12, k's cancel, and I get 1/3. So k is 1/3. If I put 1/3 here, then this value becomes root 3 over 3. You put 1/3 here, I get root 6 over 3. So that's the value of k that will make the point lie on this graph. And there's 3 marks in here. So if you get this equation, you get a mark. If you square it out, you get a mark. And if you finalize it, you get another mark. So 3 marks altogether, 6 for that page. Apologize for the little error that I made here. I wasn't careful when I put this in. I just put an 8, got a 13. Sorry for that. Number 5, state the domain or range of this circle equation. It's a circle equation in standard form. First of all, let's get the center. The center of the circle is the opposite of negative 3, which is a 3. The opposite of a plus 1, which is a minus 1. And r squared is equal to 4. So therefore the square root is plus minus 2, but the radius is 2. So the best way to explain this is to plot the center, and you'll see it. The center is 3, negative 1, right there. And that's the x, and that's the y. Okay. And the radius is 2. So if the radius is 2 from the center, let's go 2 right, right there. And we go 2 left, which is right there. We go 2 up, which is right there. And we go 2 down, which is right there. So these ordered pairs, this is 5, negative 1. And this one right here is 1, negative 1. X's, sorry, this one right here, x, right, x is 1, y is -1, I gotta be careful. And this one up here, you moved up, so x is 3, y is 1, and down here, x is 3, y is -3. Check it. We go, that's the center right here of 3, -1. So you move 2 down to a -3. Now the domain, which I call D, is the x's. So the domain is the x's go from, and this is the one we're looking at right here, it goes from 1 to 5. So the x is 1 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 5, where x belongs to the reals. That means the graph, if I draw a graph like this is a rough sketch, you know. Spacing is not, the x values go from 1 to a 5, and the range are the y values, and the y values go from a -3 to up to 1, less than or equal to y, less than or equal to 1. Notice I always start with the smallest number to the largest and use less than. Y belongs to the reals. Okay, and you got mark for that and mark for that, 2 marks altogether. Number 6, find the equation in the general form. So that's the standard form, center radius. Center is -2, 6. Radius is square root of 64, which is 8. But we have to get the general form. The general form is expanded out. So we take the x and we square it. Just hold on for a second now. My pen got a bit of ink on it, so I'll remove that ink. Don't want to glob up paper. Take the x and square it, I get x squared. Take the product of 2 and x is 2x doubled is 4x. 2 squared is 4. Y squared doubled the product, -12y. Square root of 6. Excuse me. Now we line up x squared, y squared, plus 4x, minus 12y, plus 40, x squared, y squared, plus 4x, minus 12y, and we have so I group the y's, group x squared, y squared, x and y, and that's a plus 40, bring 64 was negative, so it works out to be x squared plus y squared plus 4x minus 12y, subtract 24 equals 0. And there's 1 mark for this equation when you expand it all out. 3 marks in total. And let's continue. Change, this is the general form to a standard form. So we'll divide everything by 3. X squared, y squared, divide by 3, divide by 3, divide by 3. And it's a circle because the a and the b are equal, and it's a plus. So we have an x squared and a y squared with the a and the b equal with a plus. Got to have them equal. And now we isolate the x's, x squared plus 4x. Isolate the y's, put them together. And the 2 moves over to become a plus. And we complete the square. Half of 4 is 2 squared is 4. Half of 5 is 5 over 2 squared is 25 over 4. So when we add 4 here, we add 4 here. When we add 25 over 4 to the left, we add it to the right to keep it balanced. So this becomes x plus 2 squared. That's the factorization. Half of plus 4 is a plus 2. and a half of minus 5 is negative 5 over 2 squared. And we add these up. When we move the 2 over, I just noticed I divided by 3 here, and I said minus 2 when it's a plus 2. So that's a minus 2. So this becomes, I'm going to simplify this. This is 2 plus 25 over 4. So that's 8 over 4 plus 25 over 4. And so that gives us 31 over 4. So that's the equation that represents that general form. And again, just to make sure, I added 4, added the 25, there's a 2, 8 over 4. Yep. Okay. That's 25 and 8. Plus 25, add on 8. Sometimes your brain just not working. How about 33 over 4? Sometimes your brain, my brain, makes those little errors, and I got to be careful when I'm doing math. As I said before, I can write the test, know everything, but I always make those what they call I call silly errors, but it happens. Number 8. Oh, we got the marks. Let's see if you can divide it by 3. You got a mark. If you completed the square here, you got a mark, and added it up, and you got the equation. You got another mark. 3 marks altogether. Number 8. State the coordinates of the points if k and k plus 1 lie on this general form of a circle. So that's x and that's y. So we put k in for x. We put k plus 1 in for y. So we put k in for x, and we put k plus 1 in for y. And we have all k, so we have to simplify. So we get k squared is k being squared is k squared. Square this binomial is square root of k. Multiply and double, 2k. And square root of 1 is 1. 2k. Negative 6 times these two is negative 6k minus 6 minus 7. And if we add all them up, k squared gives us 1 plus 1 is 2k squared. That's a k. 4 minus 6 is negative 2. And if that's a 1 and a 6, that makes that a negative 12. That's a negative 13. Add on 1 is negative 12. And I see a factoring. I see 2 is a GCF, so I take the 2 out. So I factor out the 2, which is first rule in factoring. And I have a quadratic, so hopefully I'll try to see if it's factorable. Now, the product is 6, negative. Product is right here. Sum is negative 1. So the factors of 6 are 1 times 6 and 2 times 3. So what pair multiplies to give you 6 and adds to give you negative 1? 6 and 1 won't do it. It has to be a 2 and a 3. So it's a k and a k, a 2 and a 3. But the product is negative and the sum is negative. So we have to have plus and a minus. So it's a positive 2 minus 3. Multiply. 2 times negative 3, negative 6. Add. Negative 1. Perfect. So k plus 2 equals 0. K minus 3 equals 0. K equals negative 2. K equals 3. And again, the 2 is a constant, so we don't worry about that. We can divide by 2 and cancel it out. So there's the 2 values of k that fit. Negative 2 and 3. And we want the coordinates of the ordered pairs. So if we want the ordered pairs for 2, so that's negative 2. K is negative 2. And we got a negative 2 plus 1. So that's negative 2 and negative 1. and K is 3. So K is 3, and K is 3. So that's 3 and 4. So these are the two ordered pairs. So if you get this down to here, you get mark each. If you sub in, you get to mark each 4 altogether, 7 for that page. And one more question to end off the videos of review from 1 to 12. Find the general form of a circle if the center has the coordinates of the y-intercept of this square root equation, and the radius is the absolute value of this. So the y-intercept of this, so the y-intercept is when you let x equal 0. So write down the equation. We have y equals, so x is 0, and we simplify the root first, which is a 9, and the square root of 9 is 3, so minus 3 plus 2, so that's negative 2. So the center is the coordinates of the y-intercept. So the center of this circle is x is 0, y is negative 2. And the radius is equal to, and these strokes, just write this down, making sure we practiced this before on absolute value. These two strokes mean absolute value. So we have to simplify the inside. So we do PEMDAS, which means we got a PEMDAS. We have brackets, or we have to work out the inside of here. We have no exponents. We got to do it inside of here. We got to negative 14 add on the product, so we have to multiply first. So it's negative 14 plus 10. And that's the absolute value of negative 14 plus 10 is negative 4. So the absolute value of negative 4 is 4. So the radius comes out to be 4. And so we want the equation in general form. So the standard form is x minus 0 all squared, y plus 2 all squared equals r squared becomes 4 squared, which is 16. So that's the standard form. We want the general form. So we have to expand it all out. So that's the same as x squared. So that's x squared. X minus 0 is x, so that's the same as x squared. Now we square this binomial. Square the first term, y squared. The product of these two doubled is 4y. Square the second term, we get a 4 equals 16. So the equation is x squared, y squared. Notice we have no x because this is, so x squared plus y squared plus 4y minus 12 equals 0. Notice there's no x term here because the x coefficient of the center is 0. Now you want to, but again, stress, some people will say, well, probably you can do this too and put the 0 in. Because this is 0, 0 is right there. So you can have that as your mark, or that. So you have marks if you have the center done. So if you put 0 in here and worked out this to be the center, you give yourself a mark. If you worked out the radius, you give yourself another mark of 4. If you subbed it in the equation, right here, and got this equation, you give yourself a mark, and we ended up with this final equation, 4 altogether. 1, 2, 3, 4. Total on the page is 4. Add them all up, and I think it's out of 27. Convert it to a percent, and hopefully the first 12 videos on this unit, you understand, you can work everything out. Thank you for viewing my video. Hope the video was of some help to you as a review of the first 12 videos. And we say goodbye. Bye-bye.